Real nice guy.
Unless we-
Unless you approve them, got it. If you don't approve them, I'll show you.
You know what you're putting out?
Thank you.
So we can, very little. Oh, you want to, no means nothing, no approve it.
Decide when you meet,
Right, so there's no,
and I have to email, they have to have, 20th is the earliest, because they cannot have to. And then the 20th doesn't, I'm not again.
the commissioners meet at 8 or 8:30. Let's see, well, let me make sure I'm.
To get before this payroll. Okay, so for the next payroll then.
That will actually,
Audra, come back and tell him this.
said we were gonna get it cleaned up at the next meeting. Okay. We just changed the percentage in the way.
And so we won't put wages out, because we had that one in.
Not that percentage. We said that was gonna be in November.
It's okay. I'm authorized.
Yeah, and you can, if you need to put my name on it. If we want to, you want to email me and we'll have a record on that, and that would be fine. Okay. If you join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doug, would you mind to move that?
You can't, you can't, it's hooked in, they've been working on the sound, and that has to stay there.
Oh, okay.
Right, Christie? Wherever Christie is.
I think the table can go back, we just can't mess with the sound cables.
Well,
There is
they're
none.
attached, is the,
There's no cables there.
no cables there, then yes, it can. I thought it was when I came down and started to move it. I'm sorry.
Just a little bit. There you go. That's great. Yeah, we had to move them around because not all the stations had microphones. And the chair is, over there too, so.
Obviously. Is it wireless?
And if you get me some coffee and,
Yes, FYI, the cable worked on the microphones, so they should be loud, but they shouldn't be, so I
Yep.
got,
They were ringing earlier, sorry.
yes, that's fine. We may have to turn the master volume down a little bit, but.
okay. We'll call the meeting to order. And we have two meetings today. They will be back to back. The first is the regular meeting, and then the second is the budget meeting. So we'll start with the regular meeting and the minutes of the October 9 or September 9 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Harris makes a motion, seconded by Harding. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to old business of encumbrances. Judy?
You asked what I thought for sure should be allowed as encumbrances. I'm,
Can you turn the volume
definitely,
down on that TV?
anything contractual, like anything we have ordered such as vehicles, you know, are gonna
Over
have
here,
to be
Rita.
encumbered.
They pointed at the
The things that I would think regular routine,
TV. Hit mute.
like utilities and so forth, I mean, you're gonna have those in your budget month to month anyway, so I wouldn't see that, my recommendation would be that not be encumbered at whatever point you would decide to move toward a change in the encumbrance policy.
I think Chris Young's comments at the last meeting were taken to heart. We need to work towards this year, and then with next year having firm guidance on it. But the thought is that routine expenditures, routine purchases, routine bills should not be encumbered. The only thing that should be encumbered is large contracts, things that are waiting on delivery. It'll just be a new process to where it'll be okay because you will not have December expenses and you will have January expenses, but that'll be the same every year, you know, as we move forward. It is just such an every line item. Last year, we carried over how many encumbrances? Well over 100.
Well, yeah, well over, about 2 million in total, but that was big encumbrances and so forth.
For individual line items or individual purchases for many different departments.
You're right, at least 200, but I don't have that number with me right now.
And that's just and the more we learn, that is not common. That is not done. The items that are encumbered are special circumstances to carry forward, not routine business. And so we want to move away from routine business and year-end purchasing being done, you know, in December. So if you, it's just being good managers of the dollars. So we're going to issue a letter to the department heads to kind of set this up. But we'll have to tackle this, my thought is we'll tackle this early next year with policy change and with guidance. So, kind of reset what you said.
So we are not encumbering normal line items this year?
You can, we'd love for you not to.
Right, and that's the intent, but.
Right.
So this year would be no different than what it was last year?
By policy, you're correct.
Okay. And then with the intent of moving forward to not do that, or not, to get away from that?
Now, your situation's a little different because you have a dedicated fund. So it's not like the fund reverts to general and, you know, I can see where someone who's totally governed by the general fund would have more of a concern about it than, say, EMS would, or you'd have an MVH, or some of those other funds that the unspent money's just gonna revert back to a kind of a dedicated fund for that purpose. But, when you know, there's an old mentality, use it or lose it, and, you know, that's not necessarily what we want to embrace, you know, because it's still there, it is, and we'll support you. We just need to not make an unbelievable amount of work for following claims out into February and even early March for things that are, you know, just paying a power bill that you're normally gonna pay every month, and we've got a reasonable idea what that dollar amount should be, so.
Well, it's also just figuring that money that was normally figured to encumber that we have to budget next year for, to miss that month, like some of Christie's that, you know, we didn't plan for, so.
But whatever year we do it, there's going to be that jump. Whenever we do it, it'll be there, one or the other. So, but, you know, I'm certainly okay with the plan to try to get there.
Well, we'll take this back up after first year with policy, but there will be a letter sent to help explain this to everyone. Okay. Anything else on encumbrances? If not, we'll move on to new business. Item A will be PTO sellback. Judy?
Okay, at this point in time, 6 employees have indicated to their supervisors that they would like to do a sellback. Letter did go out to all department heads that, to please be talking with your employees and to let them know that you need to know that, because it's got to come out of your budget somewhere. This is October, and so times for additionals and so forth are getting slim. So, do you want the name of the employees or just
No,
to
I
know?
don't think that's necessary. It's in your packet. But the overall total is,
7,188.85 in terms of wage, and then in terms of perf, it's 805.19. And
549.
549. And Christie, be happy to share with you which ones of those are out of general fund and the ones you pay.
Judy, you don't have any on there for me, do you?
Nope.
We do not. It's, the departments are clerk, auditor, highway, and parks.
Okay. You get them to give you a letter so that we can have it on file, and so Audra can calculate what it is going to be.
The idea of this being an agenda item is to give us awareness that transfers may be necessary to cover. Anything else on that, Judy?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on to item B. Commissary, that should, this is semi-annual, should say quarterly. We accept those quarterly now, and the sheriff has presented us the commissary report. Anything to note, Sheriff?
Nothing's on there. That I've said before, anybody has any questions on any of this, they can come down with the commissary report, stand in the office, they can come down and feel free to do it.
Okay. Any questions for Sheriff? Let's put it on the record. I'll entertain a motion to accept the report. Eric moves. Is there a second? Travis seconds. All in favor of accepting the sheriff's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to wage and salary ordinance amendment, item C.
This is the 2025 cleanup, and on the back page of it, you'll see what has been changed. There was a typo, and that was fixed in the county administrator wage. Chief probation officer salary. It goes down through there, you can read. Added, that way you are aware of what it was. Again, it's just cleanup, no major change in wages or anything, maybe a penny. Just in writing, they're already being paid that way, it was in the calculation. Change of account, building ground superintendent for the courthouse and so on.
We have one more change we've discovered that we'll need, that's not on this list for today. We'll be looking at a change for the health department, and we'll take that up at the next meeting. More on that later. Are any questions on these changes? If no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the amendment to the 2025 wage and salary ordinance.
So moved.
Have a motion by Greg. Is there a second? By Max. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay. Next is the Highway Department with the Community Crossings Matching Grant applications. Melanie?
Yeah, this is just for me to get you guys' approval.
I'm sorry, would you,
Yes, I will.
the whole online thing?
We just wanted to get you guys' approval to apply for community crossings for this year.
And you've got your applications done,
I do. They're mostly finished. I just have to upload my attachments and submit them.
and your total is?
Our commitment will be $271,000, and then we apply for the full $1 million.
Questions for Melanie? Your approval gives us gives me the authority to sign the financial commitment letter that comes with the grant application. So, saying that we will approve matching funds if we're awarded.
Motion.
Motion from Harris, is there a second?
Second.
Harding? All in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Thank you, Melanie. Okay, Nathan, you want to come up and introduce yourself and your colleague and make sure that
Doug, could you get him a chair?
you can pull one of those. There's an extra one right here.
My name's Nate Pfeiffer. I'm a bridge inspection engineer with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert. We're a civil engineering firm out of Indianapolis. This is Braden Downing. He's our client services liaison for this area. I'm here at the request of Highway Superintendent Josh Byrd. Earlier this year, our company inspected the county's bridges and provided him with a report on the county's bridge inventory. He asked me to address the council and provide some information. I think it would be helpful to provide a little bit of context about bridge inspection just in general, very briefly. After some high-profile failures of bridges in the 60s and 70s that resulted in loss of life, the federal government imposed the requirement on the states that bridges on public roads open to the public be inspected on a regular basis. Generally, bridges that are in poor condition are inspected annually. Bridges in better condition are inspected every 2 years. And in some instances, bridges that meet certain criteria can be inspected on an extended inspection interval of 4 years. INDOT is responsible to the Federal Highway Administration to ensure that all public bridges in Indiana are inspected. INDOT administers the bridge inspection program and provides 80% federal funds in the county to the counties who are responsible for providing the 20% local match. Each county in Indiana hires an engineering firm with qualified bridge inspection engineers following INDOT's RFP process. INDOT imposes strict requirements on the counties and the engineering firms that help to ensure that INDOT stays in compliance with the Federal Highway Administration to not jeopardize federal funding. Each county has an assigned compliance month or two in which the county's bridges must be inspected. Bridge inspection contracts are generally 4-year contracts. In years 1 and 3, all the county's bridges are inspected. In years 2 and 4, only the poor condition bridges are inspected.
Thank you.
The current bridge inspection contract is for years 2023 through 2026. So in Pike County's compliance month of April 2025, we completed our second full inspection of all the county's bridges. We met with Josh Byrd and Melanie in July to go over our findings and delivered our final reports to them in August. The letter that you have in your hands is what we call our findings letter. It's essentially a high-level summary of our inspection findings. I'd encourage you to read through it later. This is basically the document that guided our discussion when we met with Josh and his team back in July. There are a few things in the letter that I do want to point out to you that would be helpful, I think. On page 3, there's something called a report card. We select several metrics that show the trend over time. The first column shows the metrics, and the next 3 columns show the last 3 full inspection cycles from 2021 through 2025. Red text indicates that the metric got worse from the previous full inspection cycle, and green text indicates that the metric improved from the previous cycle. For reference, the last column shows the value for each metric as an average across all county bridges in the state. This report card provides a snapshot view of the condition of the county's bridges over the last few inspection cycles, as well as compared to the other counties. So what does this mean? The second thing I want to point out to you in the letter is the paragraph in the middle of that page 3. Pike County has 109 bridges, and the average lifespan of a bridge is about 75 years. So if you divide 109 by 75, you'll get a number greater than 1. It's about 1.5. In other words, if you just do an average of one major bridge project each year, your metrics shown here will not improve. So we recommend completing an average of 2 major bridge projects each year in order to improve the metrics shown in the report card. The most important information that we provide at each full inspection cycle is the priority schedules. We compile all the data and make recommendations for major work, and we make recommendations for local maintenance. And we prioritize these recommendations based on a number of factors. The top priorities for major work are on page 4 of the letter, and the highest priority local maintenance items are on page 5. The letter, since it's just a summary, just contains the beginning of both lists. The full lists are in the final report that we provided to Josh and his team. For reference, I've distributed to you the full priority schedule for major work. It's got a blue, kind of a blue banner at the top of the sheet. So just a brief word about the major work list. The order and the suggested years are not prescriptive. They're simply provided to assist in your decision-making based on factors that are available to us. There might be other information that you have that leads you to pursue these bridges in a different order or in a different year. A couple months ago, I received a call from John Gregg. He asked me to put together the bridge construction forecast document that you have. That's the one that has a bunch of yellow on the page. Basically, this is essentially the priority schedule for major work, broken down to show 2 bridge projects per year. As with any list, there's assumptions in the list, and at the top of that page has a lot of assumptions that we made in coming up with that list. There are 3 costs shown for each project. The first cost column is the estimated total construction cost, assuming that it is a federal aid project. At the top of the document, it shows where we got these estimates. That's from a published study by NDOT. The second cost column is 20% of the estimated federal aid construction cost. This is the percentage that's expected to be incurred by the county for the construction itself if you would pursue a federal aid project. And then the third column, Josh provided these numbers. He got these cost estimates from contractors for most of the bridges on this list. So the bridge construction forecast shows estimated construction costs only. The costs shown do not include design, right-of-way acquisition, utility relocation, or construction inspection. And these costs are often 30% of the construction cost. So this is just construction dollars. So anyway, I hope this background information and written documentation has been helpful to the council. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us as needed. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Otherwise, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Nate. These are all very helpful. A couple of things I noted in what you shared. First of all, the dollars on this form are all, just to make sure everyone's clear, these are all 2025 dollars.
That's correct.
So if we look at things that are 3, 4, 5 years down the road, these dollars are definitely subject to change in
Inflation, right.
inflation. I know Josh explained to me, because we had the kind of the handwritten form, and you've captured it here, the difference between, again, the contractor estimate and what would happen if this was done as a full estimate, for a full federal aid project.
Sure. A lot of times, a small bridge can be easily replaced in kind. I would encourage, a hydraulic study or something to make sure that the bridge opening is wide enough to take the water. But if you just wanted to go with a quick and dirty replace in kind, then you could go with a local contractor. If it's a complicated project, you're better off going with the federal aid process, because you get 80% of it paid for by the feds. So, you know, there is a lot more, obviously, paperwork and headache with a federal aid project. But in the end, you'll probably get a better product, in my opinion.
I know that Highway has really embraced the idea of, when possible, we're going to, you know, concrete box culverts now as opposed to traditional bridges. And again, as long as it hydraulically makes sense, that's not a bad plan.
I agree. That's a good plan, yeah. Yeah, small bridges, small openings that don't have a lot of flow, you know, replace them with a precast concrete box is perfectly fine.
And I saw we had a change in our total number of bridges. That's not something we usually experience.
Yes, so there was 108 bridges before last year. They replaced a culvert with a larger structure that is technically considered a bridge. So that was on, I think, 350 West, I believe.
That's my questions.
Didn't have any.
Nate, thanks for that report. It's nice to put eyes on it.
Quite welcome.
Max, do you have anything as highway guy?
I went through it, Josh.
Yeah, I really think this is helpful. We're obviously in the process now of, you know, as with all counties, evaluating wheel tax option.
Right.
And so this, thank you for doing what you've done. And I know you work with commissioners all the time, and we don't always get to see this. So your time today is very much appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yep.
Thank you. Josh, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I was just going to embrace the concrete box culvert or something. That's what we tried to, when you see that the contractor's price is lower than, you know, his own federal aid or whatever, that's what we're just trying to save the money for the county. We've had this pretty well established now for the last 6-8 years. That's what we've been running with. So, I would just like to keep that going. And 2 of these on this list is already budgeted for 2022. So, I'm just trying to keep pushing forward with that list to make our report card look better. So, that's not it.
I have one last question. Life expectancy of the box culverts versus the federal, is there much difference between?
Typically, they're about the same. 75 years is what you can expect to get out of a box.
Good question.
We do have an engineer, or Nathan, or somebody they'll do a water runoff on what each box, you know, we know what it's gonna take, so.
Sometimes you actually are using an engineer that the contractor's
Correct.
aligned with, right? And
Yes.
they're doing the stamping on whatever you're putting in.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, it is certified by them when they, you know, there's no lead during installation, it still stands.
So are there potential engineering costs on this contractor estimate that aren't included, or is that,
No,
that,
no, on the one sheet that I give you and Max, John, there's 4 bridges on there, that's in the yellow, that I've got highlighted yellow. That's the ones we've actually got to go with a bridge. So, and that's all the higher number ones. So, and, you know, I think we can do better on that end, but that's kind of where we're at.
thanks, Josh. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we're moving on to additionals. Josh, you're up, highway, equipment repair, $40,000 from 1169 local road and street to equipment repair.
signs. Then pictures go with that list.
Okay. Okay.
Can Doug help you pass those out?
What's that?
Can Doug help you pass those out?
Well, Doug, hey, Doug can help, he can help. Doug's a good guy. Max, you got it too, ain't you?
Sit. He's gonna sit in the back row next time.
Give it to me, and I'll have to call you again and ask you questions.
We've just had more than average breakdowns this year. And the cost of everything has just gone up. We go get a part, and I think this is the second time that we've been here, but it's just due to inflation. So, that's mainly it.
I talked to Josh, John, and the price of parts compared to 2 years ago.
It is. Hydraulic hoses, anything, we've got our own hose machine, but just the roll of hose is out of sight, so.
You're not seeing any issues with employee calls maintenance, like kind of deal with misuse or abuse or anything like that, right?
No, I mean, there's, you're always gonna just have your normal wear and tear on everything. And that's, especially the brush cutters, they're constantly up in limbs. And we've got protectors on all of them, but them hoses are constantly, working.
I understand that, but I'm just making sure that we don't seem to be seeing any misuse or abuse.
Yes.
I mean, nobody's beating the machines just because it's not there.
And if they would, I would call them out real quick, so.
So do you have bills to pay, or is this just because you're,
Yeah, no, we've got bills to pay.
is this going towards a repair that's pending, or is this?
No, we've got actual bills to pay that need to be paid, so.
You think this will get you through the year end?
That's what we're in the hope for, yes. We originally thought about going with a lower amount, but after Max and I talked, we wanted to make sure that it tried to get us through the end of the year.
Well, as I pointed out earlier, if you don't spend it, it stays right there. Any more questions for Josh? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Max moves.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Darren, you're up next. $3,334 from, that's from the forfeiture fund, right, to witness fees?
Good morning.
Good morning.
That's correct. The criminal forfeiture fund is something that we have as a matter of statute, but we don't do forfeitures very often in Pike County. The reasons are numerous. One is it's a prime area to get yourself sued if you're not careful as to how it's done. Secondly, I don't like to encourage officers to be thinking about generating revenue as a reason to be doing search warrants or making arrests. I think our departments are good about doing things for the right reasons, but other departments have had problems where officers start picking out particular targets because of the forfeiture potential. But we always want to be aware that there may be cases that are open and obvious that these monies came from drug dealing. And if the proof is there, I've told the officers that I'm open to the idea of a criminal forfeiture. If it's very clear that we've got drug proceed monies, then the statute is very much on all fours that you have the right to pursue a forfeiture. The $3,333 directly attributable to Detective Arnold, who did a really nice job with the case involving a juvenile, involving dealing in narcotics, and the fact that we had a juvenile who was 17 years old who had, I think, $20,000 in a safe. Scott did the extra work. He got the confessions and the admissions that the monies had been received from dealing of drugs. He documented, he corroborated, he did everything the right way. And then he came to my office and said, I know you don't like forfeitures because you're afraid we're going to get sued, but what about this one? Because I really worked hard, and it would be a shame to just give this money back whenever we've got the admissions that this money was proceeds from drug dealing. And so I had to give it to Scott. I'm like, okay, you got me there. You were correct. If it's all there, then the county should be entitled to the reimbursement of expenses. It was a relatively small amount. We did the legal work in-house to save the money. The $3,333 literally represents probably 15 to 20 hours of legal work that Logan did, which is not a really good return on investment hourly rate. But Logan did all of the work to file the forfeiture complaint, get everything documented. We got an agreement from the juvenile and the mother, so we're on good footing and not subject to litigation. And the $3,333 went into our forfeiture fund. So it is not traditional tax revenue. Now then, on the other side, what is it I'm asking to do with it? One of my highest priority cases, and we've spent many, many hours on it, involves a hit-and-run fatality that happened on Dutchtown Road in June of 2021. At one point in time, we had called the grand jury to assist with the investigation. We worked extremely hard on that because of the seriousness of what happened and how, in our opinion, how awful it was what happened. We were able to obtain a polygraph examination that the Indiana State Police assisted us with that moved the ball forward in terms of determining what actually happened and whether witnesses were truthful. We filed a case out of a grand jury indictment after that polygraph examination, and at the time we got the polygraph done, which was a really helpful investigative tool, the Indiana State Police actually provided the polygraph examiner. In the interim, while the case was going on, the polygraph examiner retired from the Indiana State Police. He now works as his own independent contractor in retirement, and therefore, to assist and consult with the case, he has an hourly rate of $200 an hour, which seems commensurate with what other experts cost. Complicating matters, we got ready for trial in August. We worked the case up. We'd spent weeks getting it ready. The polygraph examiner had done a lot of prep work. We were on the verge of getting ready to go to trial. We had a witness who passed away. So the case got continued, which of course adds to county expense. Unfortunately, I don't know any way to control for that. So our polygraph examiner now is owed, I'm going to guess, a couple $1,000s for the total work of getting ready on the verge of going to trial. And he's from, I think, Noblesville, but up around Indianapolis. So travel and different things that go on with it results in some considerable expense. The case is important. I wouldn't ask you to spend monies for a polygraph examiner or any expert witness if I didn't believe that the health and welfare of our county demanded and insisted that we take this type of case to trial because of the severity of what happened and the importance to the people of our county that we get the best answers possible. So I'm not going to do this on a misdemeanor. I'm not going to do this on your garden variety low-level felony. I wouldn't want to spend the money except for the fact that I believe that it's critical that we have this expert witness. And we need to get him paid. We need to have monies available when we do finally get to trial in January, so that he can come and testify in this case and tell the jury what his findings are, because I think it's very important. So that is a nutshell explanation of what this is about.
we don't have a large criminal forfeiture fund, but to try to avoid asking for additional tax monies, I used what revenue I could come up with, and in this particular case, that happened to be the forfeiture that Detective Arnold got, the legal work that we did on it, and I'm hoping that it will cover most of it. There may be an overage by the time we go to trial in January. That's what this transfer is about.
Okay.
Any question?
Thank you. Very thorough.
I'll make a motion.
Harris moves approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Harding seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair abstains. It'll be 6-0.
You have the 40 transfer, you want to wait on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, Darren, yes, let's stay with our agenda.
Fair enough.
Prosecutor, is that pretty standard when the state is involved in an investigation and somebody just retires?
It's become a thing, and other counties in the southwest Indiana region have experienced it. The state has no fallback for what they do if that person has to continue their work after the retirement. So other counties have been hit with similar bills. I've talked with both the polygraph examiner and I've talked with other detectives from District 35 here where we're at about it. The state just didn't provide any safety net to cover the cost and expenses as they continue.
Have they replaced that individual?
They do. They have someone else who's actually moved in to that position, and we've actually used that person on other polygraphs. But yeah, whether it was oversight or intentional, there was just no plan for what happened whenever he retired.
You could run into the same thing just with a regular detective that's retired, if it was their case.
If they don't provide some type of safety net, yes. And we've got a series of detectives that are right on that line, getting ready to actually retire. Although I don't know that a detective, the statutes would suggest if it's your professional vocation, and that's the reason you're the witness, is because it's your profession, there's a long line of cases going back a couple centuries that says that you're entitled to be paid. Even a case from law school where a doctor's in a bus station and works on somebody, there was a famous case where he submitted a bill when he got called to court, and the court said, yeah, he's a professional, he deserves to be paid. So I do think the law says that an expert deserves to be paid, and definitely with the distance here, we're asking for a pretty substantial time commitment. So yeah, it's just one of those things where the state's not provided any fallback for us.
Thank you.
Okay. Sheriff, you're up. First one's somewhat routine, the second one may not be.
What's that?
So the first one's somewhat routine, the second one may not. So your first one is a $16,000 additional from general to part-time, and this is for jail.
Yeah, this is for our part-time jail staff. Looking back on this, we have had several of our part-time people have to step up and can get called in and do a lot of work. We had an opening a few weeks back that we had to fill, and with that being said, we had to fill that with part-time until that position got filled. We've spent several hours, if not days, at the hospital with inmates when we send a full-time staff, jail staff, which I tried to do that with jail staff if we can, to the hospitals to sit with inmates. And then we call in a part-time to take that spot over in the jail. We try to keep our numbers up as much as we can with out-of-county inmates as well, so we have to have somebody else come into the jail as a part-time to fill that spot. So that's why our number is up right now, so.
And really, we've still been in a learning mode since we went to adding that commitment to having that second.
Yes. Yeah.
That second night shift jailer,
Yeah.
right? So.
Yeah.
While this is a healthy expense, it's, in the grand scheme of things, to me, it's not a terrible miss as far as budgeting goes.
No.
Given the fact that this is really the first
first full year.
full year we've
We
implemented
tried to-
this.
yes.
and made that commitment to having
Yeah.
the second staff in the jail need.
As I said, the nights and the hours or the nights that we spend at the hospital, we can't account for that. But we have no rhyme or reason when we're gonna go or why we're gonna go, but, we just know when we send the jail staff over there with them, then we try to replace that person at the jail.
Okay, do we want to go ahead and talk about, they're kind of listed together as the same item. Do we want to
Yeah.
talk about health now, or do we want to take action?
Yeah,
Take
that's-
action on on this first part of the request?
I'll make a motion to approve the 16,000.
I'll second.
Okay. Greg and Max, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I think that's 7-0. We'll move to the next piece of this, which is 62,000 from general to medical expenses, supply, the medical dental contract, or the medical dental and the healthcare contract.
So the 62,000, the $45,000, at the beginning of the year, I came to you guys, presented that, our old medical contract, she came to me and wanted me to sign a new contract with, the old, contract, medical contract, and, we caught it at the fine line of, the expense of that, what that was gonna be at the end of the year was gonna be astronomical. We had no idea how to budget that because it was gonna be a very, very large number of medical bills at the end of the year. I contacted most of the sheriffs around our area, and they got the same contract. They started looking at it. They had their attorneys look at it just like we did, and they said, get out of that contract. Pull from that contract, go someplace else. Because it was an unknown on what kind of expenditure we was gonna have. So that's what we done. We decided to get 3 different quotes for 3 different medical contracts. We sent them to the attorney. The attorney looked it over, and said, this is the one you need to go with. I presented it to the commissioners. The commissioners agreed on it, and that's where we went. That being said, we did bump up to 5-day-a-week nursing. We only had 30 hours at that one time. We went to a 40-hour nursing full-time position, which has been a blessing for the jail. It's well needed with the numbers that we provide. So that was the 45,000. That was the extra money that was gonna come from that, from the old contract to the new contract. Eric and I talked about this several months ago, that this was something we was gonna have to do. It was at the end of the year. Like I said, I presented to you guys when we talked about this, that there was gonna be an extra expense at the end of the year, so, that's what that is. The, medical and dental supply, that is, money that we have. We got a bill from that not too long ago, and, that was 14,000. That is paying, that's our part of what we have to pay for our medical supply, the medicine and that kind of stuff that we have, x-rays, whatever that inmate has to do, they scrub that number down, and then we end up having to pay a portion of that, so. And then the dental, same thing. I mean, we take somebody to the dental, or to a dentist, they have to have, work done on their teeth. Our county has to pay that. And there's no way of budgeting for who's gonna come in and who's gonna have to go to the dentist. We try to, but there's just no way of looking at it.
And just to recap too, we went from 30 to 40 because you couldn't find anybody that would do a 30-hour contract.
No,
because-
no, we checked.
Because they
I mean,
couldn't, they couldn't put that nurse somewhere else for 10, they couldn't.
Yeah, every contract that we looked at, that we could reach out to that could provide our area would not do a 30-hour week. They're not doing it. I mean, they couldn't get a nurse to do it for that, so.
And this one was still extremely cheaper than the last contract raise that.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the year, we were looking at paying well over $200,000 and some odd $1,000, if not more.
Remember, there's a big balloon payment at the end,
Yeah.
based on.
Yes.
They accumulate all those costs and then they
Yes.
present you an invoice.
I mean, and like I said, at the end of the year, we wouldn't know exactly what that number was gonna be until they sent a bill to us.
Is that original company still in business?
I think they are. I think they've went down. I think at one time they had almost 70 jails in the state, and I think they're probably down to under 30 probably. So,
I have a question on this medical and dental.
Mhm.
It says the current balance is 25,000. And we only appropriated 4,000 for the year out of medical and dental. So I'm confused. I'm looking at the appropriation report as of 10/10. That's the 3350 line. Year-to-date expenses out of that line is only $1,439,
right.
and we appropriated 4,000, leaving $2,560.99 according to this report. I mean, do we have the right line items on here?
I believe I could check with Ashley on that just to make sure that.
Something seems to be out of order there to me.
Medical and dental, yes. The appropriation was 4,000 and the unexpended balance is 2,560.
That's a typo. That balance should be 2,500. 2,500?
The 12 is what you need.
Yes,
Are there bills to pay
Yes.
that are sizable?
yes. Yeah. So that shouldn't be at 25,000, it should be 2,500.
I was going to say, year-to-date, we've only spent 1,400.
This doesn't help us in this situation, but we do have that other odd medical care for inmates fund that it's sitting there. I think it's got, I was looking at it, it's got about $2,500 in it. What do we save that for or use that for? Or
What's the fund number?
I'll give it to you.
750.
Is it a
It's
medical or is it
Fund
just
1174.
for inmate supply?
It's called medical care for inmates.
It's got $2,000 in it.
$2,040 in it right now.
I'm not sure on that one, by that one.
And there's a revenue of $985 in it this year, so I don't know how we get revenue.
I do know it was not budgeted for next year.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we used some of that a year ago,
Yeah.
didn't we?
I think they didn't know they had it until
Yeah, it was
last
close.
year.
Yeah.
That we found it last year.
It's a piece of, but it's a piece of the puzzle here. I mean, I'm fine with leaving it alone, and I was just saying you could potentially transfer 2,000 of this out of that fund, or you'd have to do an additional out of that fund, right? Because it's not budgeted. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but just wanted to point that out. It's not going anywhere. All right.
You know, I don't know if, like I said, medical, I know it's expensive. It's something we have to have, medical contract. There's no way around it. There's every jail in the state has a medical contract. I'm sure their numbers are probably a lot higher than ours. We do a really good job working with our prosecution, our prosecutor and the judge on trying to prevent these numbers from happening. So, you know, if we didn't have that, then this number could be a lot more. I think Darren and I, we speak almost on a daily basis
No, I
when
think
it comes
it's a
to
medical.
looking at
But they-
This is our
what we need to do with some of this stuff. And we work together very well on trying to take care of this number
It's hard.
and keep it as low as we can, but there's days that we just have to do it.
So, but they do, and I realize this is a very specialty system, right? So the invoice you pay here, the one that's directly for patient care, the things that's not covered by the contract,
Right.
you're actually invoiced by your contractor.
Yes.
So they pay those bills to the hospital or whatever. They try to reclaim insurance, I guess. if
They try
can.
to, as long as, and Brian does as well. So if we have an inmate in there that has insurance, then we try to go after their insurance as well to take care of this. And a lot of them, some of them we do, some of them, a lot of them don't have insurance. So, I mean, we do everything we can to try to keep this number down, but it depends on who comes in, who doesn't, and what they have.
You get a lot of inmates that don't live a healthy lifestyle.
Mark,
You would correct on that?
I guess, do they give you like do they pass things through, I mean, to show you what their true expenses are? I mean, because all I'm looking at is an invoice.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. No, we get exactly a breakdown of
Like an explanation of,
explanation on everything. Absolutely.
because I mean, there's potential there for them to upcharge.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is a handling fee on it to handle it. All right, well,
I can attest that the public view hour, the sheriff's department and the judge, we all work trying to just
To
make
avoid
those
those.
decisions. The phone's always on, it's not always just search warrants. It's just dealing with whatever crisis comes up, and the county bottom line is always, they're always looking at it.
Make a motion
for,
to approve.
to approve this additional,
Yes.
Eric moves, is there a second?
Second.
Max? Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. I know we spent some time on that, but I think it's healthy
Absolutely.
to do that. All right. Then you had an additional also on the drone program.
Yeah, this is something, this was a,
It's a
he's
donation.
requesting $352 out of that. He got a grant on that. We believe it says the new purchase of a new drone. It's actually, I believe he's looking at new parts for the drones that he's got, so.
I think we're good. Is there a motion? Max?
Second.
Jeff? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Darren, let's get you taken care, or I need a motion to approve the resolution for all the additionals approved today.
I'll do that.
Greg moves, is there a second?
Second.
Jeff? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks. Darren, your transfer, $1,038 from training and seminars to postage and supplies.
Yeah, I stopped by to talk to Summer and Mike this morning just to make sure I understood. I've been aware for a while that we just had a hard time keeping up with postage costs, both upstairs and downstairs. This is of course 4D. And then Summer did say they're running very low on office supplies. We think for now we can make do if the council permits us to move this money from training and seminars.
Any questions for Darren?
Motion.
Max moves, is there a second?
Yeah.
Greg seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Darren, did you have anything else? Just in updates?
You know, I could give you a brief update, although I'm kind of stealing Logan's thunder. We did apply, we submitted our grant application to assist with the end of next year for the Being for Others grant, which I think there's several Pike County entities doing that. I was really impressed when I looked at the grant application on the peer recovery program. the numbers look very, very good right now. Based on how we define recidivism and relapse, we were looking at somewhere around 10% at this point. That will go up some over time. But more impressive was the fact that when we really got to how can we make this grant application show what we're trying to do that makes a difference, we pulled up 5 or 6 different individuals, just used their first name, and actually kind of went through the chronology of the progress they've made. And we've seen progress with people already that we didn't think, some of the folks you just wouldn't have thought would have been possible. And you can almost visually tell a lot of times just from looking at some of these people. JK and Dallas know, in our community, if you see someone who's using again, and you see them in the grocery store, they drop their eyes and they head the other way. In Pike County, if they're healthy and they're living a good lifestyle, they come up, look you in the eye and talk to you. And you can physically, a lot of times, see the difference just based on the way that they appear healthy. And we've had a number of success stories. So that's been really, really encouraging. So we will see how we do on the grant application. But what we asked for was to, we started in August for the fiscal year with the opioid funds, trying to get the 1 year. And we knew we were going to have some monies that we needed to cover the last 5 months. So we asked for an amount that could cover the last 5 months, and we're hopeful we'll at least get a substantial portion of that. So I can't update you on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. All right, Brandon, you're up. Parks and Rec. 1330 from lifeguards. 1,200 of that to superintendent, and 130 to perf. And this is for PTO Sobek. We discussed earlier.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Greg moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Thanks. Brandon, EMS transfer, 200 from volunteer to cell phone. 500 from laundry to office supplies, and 7,000 from paramedic to medical supplies. If you're moving out of paramedic, and hopefully we're not gonna have to move any back into paramedic.
We will have to do an additional, but I usually try to do one at the end of the year. But again, as we talked in the last meeting, that number is gonna be near what it's been in the past. We should have some money, I looked the other day, we should have some money that we can transfer for some other lines to help fill that void.
Okay, any questions for Chris?
Motion.
Max moves for all. Is there a second? Was there who seconded?
Jim.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Sheriff, $665 from operating supplies to insurance.
So, yeah, we're requesting $665 from operating supplies, insurance to cover the K-9 for the insurance.
Motion.
Is that a replacement plan?
What's that? Yeah.
If something happens, it pays for another.
Yeah, for anything, any
For
kind
any
of
dog?
medical, yeah.
Is that for 1 year?
What's that?
Is the amount, is that for
Yeah, that's
1 year?
For 1 year, it'll be an increase, yeah.
I'm guessing that goes up as the dog gets older, maybe.
They require them to have a visit before they.
What's a new dog cost?
Oh, wait.
Huh?
On that train.
How-
Yeah, you can't put a number on it here. Easy 25, and that's the policy.
So how much for just the dog?
$9,500.
Any questions?
I'll second Randy's motion.
Andy moves, Max seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Nick, you're up. You got $377 from oil and lube office supplies, and $371 from instruction and schooling to travel, and $398 for operating expense.
I purchased a locking filing cabinet for the coroner's records, and that ended up, $586.94. I needed that. They're currently in banker's boxes right now, and I prefer to have something to lock and key. So, and then the travel expenses, that was for my new deputy, Brett Wood, for training in September on 2 separate weekends. That is, mileage and the meal reimbursements. And then Brett had asked me about getting a couple Pike County coroner shirts made for his training to represent the county, and I told him a couple was fine, and it went over $3, about $4, so.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Travis moves. Is there a
Yeah.
second?
Second.
Greg seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
So, aye.
Carries 7-0. Circuit Court has $2,900 from hardware software to $1,000 towards maintenance contract. In the total amount of $4,300 to work systems, which is sports reporting system, and to pay $1921.67 towards the contract. I don't think they're here. Audrey, do you want to call upstairs and see if they want to send somebody down? We can come back to this. If there's support, just let us know.
It's actually closer to like inventory control, taking it out of what they ought to take it out of. They had it in hardware, software maintenance, and it wasn't. So that may
Oh,
be
so
what-
you
right.
impose this?
I asked them to, yes.
Do we, if you want to,
Yeah.
that's why they're not here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You want to,
I will
Audrey, she can disregard them.
call Audra with all.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah.
Greg moves. Is there a second? Eric? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Commissioners are up for, this is on, from building purchase to professional services, this is a redevelopment invoice.
Baker Tilly does our annual, we do all the tip neutralization forms and everything for our tip districts, and that's just over.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Max, is there a second?
Second.
Yes? All in favor?
Aye.
You have your list of pre-approved transfers, item 7. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Jeff is moving, is there a second?
See, just for all of item 7.
Yes, for all of item 7. Eric seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. And then item 8's mirrored transfers. Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Max moves, is there a second? Travis moves, Travis seconds, all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
7-0. Max moves and Travis seconds. And then, item 9 are the,
Melanie just came in.
Yeah,
We don't need her now.
yeah, sorry, we sent for you, then we,
Yeah, I'm sorry, we were in the middle of court.
you're fine.
So,
Judy told us, Judy kind of did the explanation for you guys, so you're good.
yeah, we just need the transfer of the funds so we can keep the maintenance contract going and
Spend it out of the right fund was kind of the way it was explained.
Yeah, so that's all we need to do, so.
Yeah, we're good. It's been approved.
Thank you, sorry I was late.
No, well, sorry, yeah, it's all right. Number 9 is transfers for inventory control, which are similar to what happened with the court there. These are still related to the major computer purchase that we did this year. That'll be about done with these, aren't we?
Yep.
Can I have a motion to combine these and approve?
Yeah.
Greg moves, is there a second?
Second.
Eric seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. All right, let's move to department reports and executive. Nick left. I just wanted to mention from the coroner's perspective, he presented us with an ordinance to establish the potential for a fund that, where those death certificate fees are collected and locally put into a coroner's fund. You said that?
It's, from everything I've been able to gather, we can't.
We cannot.
Right, because the state has a fee of $2.50 for coroner's fees. And so I've put it up the ladder. I don't know how that's been going, but I'll get back. I'm still trying.
More later. Chris, do you have anything else?
We just make the final payment on the building article. And there is money left that you guys appropriated from the appointing process. So the money that's in there won't go out any more of that. I think there was a little extra on the interest amount. So, money there, we'll just fall back in.
9101 has about 5,000 left in it.
Other than that, that's cool.
Jason, do you have anything else?
We had a pretty calm weekend on the festival. Good guys, see, kind of go hear that. Other than, misplaced kids, they went real well.
They have been found.
Was that?
They have been found. Okay.
Yeah, they were found. So, numbers are staying up in the jail. Yeah.
Christine, you have anything?
The pause reports, but just because it's
Oh,
the
that's right.
first set of reports that you've seen, and it is a large lump sum this year, I just wanted to make sure you guys are okay with those and to go ahead and pay that claim out.
Yeah, we had said if you didn't receive enough email responses that we would take an action item today, so.
And I didn't get anybody saying they weren't okay with it, but I just wanted to make sure that those reports are what you guys had in mind and that you're okay with it. I didn't want that to be.
Yeah, I think that, what I viewed, the reports that they sent were what we asked for. So I think we just need to make a finding that they're in compliance.
Okay.
And I would entertain a motion for that. Is there a motion to find pause in compliance with their reporting requirements? Randy moves approval of that. Is there a second?
Second.
Jeff seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
I would need a copy of that in my records, the reports.
Okay. All in favor, or we did that, 7-0. Thank you.
We could do it again.
Brandon, do you have anything
Just to
else?
be sure.
Judy, do you have anything else?
No, other than we're in the middle of an audit.
And you also noted that there is a online tax sale coming up.
Right.
All right, so budget adoption meeting is next. Next meeting is November 11. And we've got an issue, as I texted you guys last night, with resetting a date on budget adoption. So we're going to need to do that. She was able to speak with DLGF early this morning but we'll get into that in the next meeting, so.
I'll make a motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to, can we go straight into it? Can you make a motion to adjourn and to reconvene?
Veterans,
Veterans Day, Judy.
I've got the 12th written down in my notes.
Yeah, I do too.
Previously.
I think that was on the schedule.
I think we adopted the schedule.
So I did send the right thing forward though, so,
You just put a second Tuesday on the agenda.
yeah, that's what I did.
All right. Make your motion to,
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting and go straight into the other one, but I'm gonna,
is there a second?
Second.
Jeff seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's go into budget adoption.
I'll be back.
Nick? What's that? Yeah.
Need to stop.
Doesn't
She's
need it.
saying a separate video, a
Needs to
separate
be a
link.
separate.
Oh.
She just needs to stop that and reset it.
Okay. Just change the notes to show it.
I'll take our time.
Sign that too.
There I
It's the
get,
annual.
what I get for trying to be efficient.
Sign that anti-nepotism form
sure.
for me.
Better get a pen instead of a pencil.
I can start these around for signature.
Thank you.